Hey, what's up, AfterBuzzers and Siren fans? We are back with another episode from Siren the Post. Ren is glowing, you guys. Levi gets willingly kidnapped, and we have a very special guest for you, so go ahead and stay tuned to find out who it is.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz.
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Thursday. We are back. We missed you guys last week. We hope you had a wonderful holiday. And we have a very special guest with us today. We have the one and only, my favorites, Rena Owen. She is here.
Hi.
In real life, our Helen.
Hi everybody. Hi.
And of course, we have my dear co-host, Karla.
Hi everyone, so excited to be here.
Yes, you guys, this episode was like, we took a break and we were like, oh, okay, like at least we can go and come back. And then we come back and there's people that are dying, there's people that are glowing, and there's people that are being kidnapped. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the show. We'll break it down. Then we're gonna interview Rena, see what's coming up, and then we'll have some our special segment for you, news and gossip, predictions. You guys already know the drill, so let's get started. I want to start talking about Ren.
Okay. Where are we going with this?
So Ren is glowing, and I think it's really interesting because I know that when just to kind of recap what I had said in the beginning, I have been saying that Ren is pregnant. And I've been thinking this whole time, like, oh, Ren is pregnant, Ben is the father, and this has been, like, my theory, right? But then we find out that she's not pregnant and that, like, it's mating season and Levi just happens to be there on time. But she starts glowing. And unlike humans, when they say, like, you're pregnant, you have the pregnancy glow, she has the glow before. What do you guys think about that?
Well, it's, humans have their ways of telling somebody they fancy them, and, it's all about the hormones kind of running in the endorphins and all of that. And for mermaids, it manifests in the glow. And it wasn't just Ren, it's both of them.
Yeah.
She emits that glow and a certain chemistry, and Sidel, or Levi, picks up on that and he glows back.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine we glowed whenever you got excited by someone else. That would be so interesting.
I mean, I think it would be normal if we did it, but that would also be very, like, embarrassing because they would know right away.
Exactly.
They're so forward about it, too. Like,
Yeah.
not now, or like, I'm ready, let's go in the water. And it's funny because, like, humans, we're a little, well, at least, I don't know, we're a little more subtle about it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And what do you guys, how do you guys feel about the men not really having a say in the water of who they get to mate with?
Yeah, well, it's a matriarchy. That's all I can say. I mean, yeah, it really is so different, but it's been established from the get-go that it is a matriarchy, and Ren is the alpha.
And we noticed that when she meets the rest of the family today.
Absolutely.
And they kind of, like, already know.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. There were a lot of people on Twitter. I was doing live tweeting, and a lot of them were confused and said, why are they bowing to her? But that kind of happened if you go back. There's been a lot of bowing from all the other mermaids and mermen. And when one of my first scenes with Sarge, dear Sarge, he bowed down to me.
Yeah.
Because it's a matriarchy. So it's kind of cool.
It's super awesome. I love it. I think, like, yes, women rule the
power.
world. Women power all the way. But we end tonight's episode a little bit devastating. So I hadn't connected two and two together, which is, like, obviously Ben is a Pownall, and we know that, we know that the Pownalls were the ones responsible for, like, the massacre, but I hadn't realized that he also hadn't told Ren. So do you guys think this is going to affect their relationship moving forward?
Well, it does. I mean, it ends on a really sad note because you can see that Alex is really cut up.
Yeah.
And Ren doesn't really say goodbye to him. It wasn't usually as, when you think about how the episode started.
Yeah.
I mean, they were making love.
Yeah.
At the beginning
And
of
then
the
she's just
episode.
like,
and then,
bye-bye.
yeah. She was angry. She was vexed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that her trust was broken. She didn't understand, like, why he hadn't told her. And I think her idea of, like, humans or Maddie and Ben is all about love. So she doesn't understand that, sometimes you may tell a white lie or withhold information. So I felt like she was just, like, stuck on the fact like you lied to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's quite, the character's always been like that. She's very black and white and very transparent, and she expects that of people she loves. She's unlike humans who are a bit more complicated, even when it comes to mating and flirting. We're not as outward or as obvious.
Yeah.
And it's not like if she'd had asked him in a prior episode and he said no and denied it, that's kind of more of a betrayal versus her surprise. And it's just something she's not thought about on a human level, and it hasn't come into play in the story, except for the very first episode in season 1 when Ben comes to Helen store and she tells him about his ancestors.
Which is true, yeah.
So what would you do? Would you then go to say to the woman you love, oh, by the way, my ancestors killed all your people?
Yeah, and I guess the only time that it came up was today when they were going through, I don't know if it's Beth's other house, when they were going down towards the basement.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of when it came up, when she was like, oh yeah, I know of the story, which kind of tells us as an audience like, oh, he could have thought that she didn't know about the story, which doesn't really make sense. But I think this is the first time that they speak about it, and I feel like that could have been an opportunity for him to say like, oh yeah, but it's also not the right place, not the right time.
Exactly.
So
And how do you break that to someone? It's such like a hard thing to say. I feel like that takes like time and processing. I don't think he had that. I'm pretty sure he was caught off guard.
Well, you could see that. You could see him really struggling and really troubled by it and wondering, and he goes to say something and then he doesn't. But it's not until he's confronted that Rin sees it for exactly what it is and how other people think of him and his family.
Yeah. Well, that sucks for Ben, because Ben is not only left devastated, but he's also left with a little bit of jealousy, because
he's jealous. He's
now
very jealous.
Rin is in the water with Levi, and they're about to make some babies.
But but before that, he says the word. I think it's a horrible word, but it's true, and one of the hardest ones for all of us as a species is the word shame.
Yeah.
That he's made to feel this shame and some sort of guilt for what his ancestors did. But as Levi said, rightfully so, Ben is good.
Yeah.
He is a good person.
Ben is good, yeah.
And we aren't always like our ancestors, but often you have to pay for the original sin, so to speak. So, she's gone off to the water now. He might feel a little bit jealous, but maybe not.
Maybe? No, I think
he
feels
feels so jealous from the beginning.
Rena, when we were like, oh, Levi's there, and they both started glowing, you could totally tell, like, oh, really, Levi, so you guys have a connection. Yeah. He's jealous.
Well, there's a little envy there, and it was spoken about that, but it wouldn't help the species, basically. And it comes to a real life event that's happening to a lot of creatures, extinction,
Which is true, yeah. And the best part is that he's understanding. He doesn't try to intervene or anything. He just kind of is like, okay, I accept it.
Did you guys think anything of Levi's lack of reaction when Ben told him that him and Ren make love? I was very surprised by how much Levi didn't react. In the car scene.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're talking about it, and then Levi's like, who else do you make love with other than Maddie? And he's like, Ren. Yeah. Levi's he's like, oh, okay.
He's like, okay.
It's a human experience.
I wonder, probably Levi's going to come back from the water being very curious, because it'll probably be a different experience for him.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Well.
But it's like, the way he came into the episode dancing backwards.
He is so cute.
Such a cool character.
Yeah, I love him. As a character, he's like everything. But before we move on to the rest, you guys, we just want to let you guys know that we are so thankful that you guys tune in, watch the show. We see you all on the chat. I see you. Ice, Snowflake, Shasebia321, Mina Ruth 2093, Bianca, you guys, thank you so much for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk. We have so many different other channels that you guys can go ahead and subscribe to. Of course, subscribe to this one, give us a thumbs up. We are also on iTunes, and you could give us a 5-star rating on iTunes because it doesn't take anything less. And if you guys do, we'll always shout you out. We definitely read your comments, so let us know what you think. And if you guys have any questions for Rena, please go ahead and add them to the chat. We're here. We see you guys. So yeah, let's continue. So Calvin wants Levi to be his bodyguard.
Oh my God, he's so
Yeah.
freaked out. I feel like he was making money at first because he was just
Yeah.
blowing it, and now he's like in debt and he doesn't know what to do. And he saw what Levi did for him. He's like, oh, he can protect me now. But
Yeah.
no, get your shit together.
I feel like Calvin has this younger teenager mentality where I feel like he hasn't really grown up.
Yeah, that's a part of the character.
Yeah.
You know, it's a part of the character that drives his girlfriend crazy. Because,
Yeah.
you know, he's like,
I feel like
she's
his
like a mummy to him.
Yeah, and his girlfriend is like this amazing, beautiful
Yeah.
girl who works at this bar and can get any other guy, but she's just like there and she loves him,
Yeah.
which makes their relationship beautiful. But I think it's time for Calvin to do some growing and find a job. Do you guys think he'll find a job?
No. Absolutely not. I feel like even the fact that it seemed like he kind of wanted to bribe the reporter money wise. It's like, no, how about you go make a real living? You see Sander trying to like be a deputy or, you know, trying to find a way to make a mean since they don't have the boat anymore. And Calvin's just stuck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's a hustler.
So that's what it is.
Well, you know, he's been established as that, and they
Yeah.
don't kind of change their stripes overnight.
Of
you
course.
know, I mean, Xander is trying to encourage him to get a real job and be grown up about things and trying to save him and help him. But meanwhile, Xander's still sleeping on a couch at his mother's. So they're both in similar, situations where they're both kind of, probably time to grow up. And I thought that was really interesting that Xander's looking at maybe applying to become a sheriff.
I think that's awesome. I think that if we had because we know that there's going to be a season 3 of Siren.
Yes.
Which congratulations, that is super exciting.
Thank you.
So I think it would be awesome if we get to see kind of Xander take place as like a police officer, a part of like the police force, because then we would get a little bit more of like inside things, and he would be able to show up for other things, especially because I think that with the way that tonight's episode ended, with them going back to the graveyard and finding out that Helen's parents and Donna are gone, that's probably when he's going to start doing some investigating, which will probably lead to him being able to like do investigative work for the sheriff's department and stuff.
Yeah, that was a bit of a scary ending, and who knows where that's
Yeah.
going to lead. Well, I know where it's going to lead to, but I can't tell anybody right now. But, you know, that's the compromise that Xander made, is to like, no, we're not going to give Ren away, we're not going to give that,
Yeah.
but maybe we can give him a little something to get a bit of money and get him off our back.
Yeah,
But I think this Ian Sutton is a problem.
I know.
I think Xander becoming a cop is just adding another crooked law enforcement, military, government official into the equation. I can't see it.
Really?
Yeah, no, I feel like it's too many people that are in power turning on each other. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like the military's watching them, and then they have Maddie's dad, and then there's just so many people looking into it. There's a reporter. There's too many factors. Imagine Xander
Yeah.
jumping into that. I think it would be a mess.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where that goes, but he would be in a compromised position.
Very.
Yeah.
Because I
Well,
feel
just like Maddie's father's in a compromised position.
Yeah,
you know?
where he's.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering if him covering up the death of the person who was the supplier for his mom is ever gonna resurface. There's certain things that like come into my mind. I'm like, let's not forget that he did help cover up like a murder a couple of episodes ago, you know? So I'm always like in the back of my head like, oh my gosh, this is somehow gonna come up. And I feel like
Maybe.
if Xander were to come and be part of the sheriff's department, his friends, or like he would feel like obligated to do a lot of like covering up for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Which would be nice to
That's
see.
right, that's right.
Yeah,
That
I
could
mean,
be very handy to different storylines.
Yeah.
No.
I like it. Let's keep it in the books. But honestly, if we had to guess what Calvin's first job would be, what would you guys say it should be his first job?
He's going to follow his girlfriend into being a bartender.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Calvin, yeah. Yeah, I think,
It's
working at a casino. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe not a
No,
good
that's not a
idea.
good idea.
Well, that's the thing, because I was like, oh, why doesn't he just like go work at a bar or something? But I feel like, I think we stated this in like, I'm not sure it was like last episode or 2 episodes ago where we talked about, we think he has a drinking problem and he has a gambling problem.
Exactly.
So it probably wouldn't be very healthy for
That's
him
exactly
to get.
right. Wouldn't be a good idea to put him behind the
yeah.
bar. He'd never get any work done.
But it's true. But the thing is that we forget that the North Star is a boat.
Yeah.
And Xander was a fisherman. And so Calvin has been working with fishermen for like ever because he used to work for Xander's dad as well. So I'm just wondering why he doesn't go at least work at the fish market.
That's
Or
right.
like
That's
he could
right.
sell fish even if he's not outside helping somebody because like he has the experience and I feel like that's something he will be able to get into.
He
So I
could,
was-
yeah. He
I was
could.
kind of wondering like
He
why
could.
Xander didn't bring that up. I was like, make him a fisherman.
Yeah, because I think, they're guys, they're blokes, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
Calvin's about fun and doing it with friends. And, I mean, he is, quite annoyed that Xander let the boat burn. But
Yeah.
we kind of learned that it was a bit of a burden to Xander, that he was doing something that was his father's passion and he was
Yeah.
just, being a good son.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think he was quite happy to be free of it and to see what else is out there for him in his life. And
Yeah.
and then the Nicole thing kind of happened with him, and so he's exploring new areas of his life, and Calvin needs to do the same. But you're right, Calvin could go and work on another boat. Well,
Yeah.
he did go and work on another boat, but it was a casino.
He wasn't actually working.
Yeah.
He was gambling.
he was working the
He
cards.
was working it. Yeah, he'd be good at the pokey tables,
Yeah. I mean, he did win some money because clearly he
did.
like owes money.
Right, and then he lost it all, so...
Yeah. Don't get cocky, guys. Don't get cocky. I lost my train of thought when we were thinking about, we were talking about Calvin. And, oh yes, I was going to ask you about Nicole.
Yes.
So, as Rena or
Yeah.
Helen, how do you feel about Nicole Martinez?
Well, my character hasn't really met her or had anything to do with her.
That's true.
Yeah, that is very true.
I just
actually.
realized that.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I watch her and I think she's a lovely actress, and I think
Yeah.
she's, I like what's the kind of story arc she's had and her relationships with Xander and then Rin and
Do you like
Ben
her
and
for
Maddie.
Xander?
Well, Xander seems to like her.
So it's a no. You're hesitant.
No, it's not my
We
place
have
to
to
call
trust.
it. I can't call it because, it's a small town. And I know
Yeah.
myself growing up in a small coastal town.
Yeah.
It's not like your options are all over you're kind
Definitely,
of
yeah.
limited. But I think she's really beautiful and hot
Yes,
and she's
100%.
clever.
Yeah.
She's beautiful and
She's a
very,
boss.
she's talented. So,
Yeah.
she's got a great job.
Yeah.
So there's more pluses for her than minuses in terms of Xander. I mean, maybe him looking into becoming a sheriff, that's partly been motivated by her.
Yeah.
In terms, she's a career girl,
She is.
but, and then she brought in the personal story about her brother, which is what led her into the military. So, she was a goodie who we found out was a baddie, but is actually still a goodie.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's but actually, let's think about it. Same thing with Alex. Alex is a goodie, and suddenly Rin's found out that maybe he's a baddie, but we know he's a goodie.
Yeah.
The essence of the person is she's good. She's
yeah.
good, but Helen and Nicole have not actually engaged.
Well, I
I've
hope
been too busy with the hybrids.
Yes, you have. Which is what we're going to get into next. So, John, you guys, our favorite character, the one that we thought was going to answer all of our questions,
I know.
is now
Gone.
gone.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah.
So random. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that actually. So when it happened, I was like, okay, is it Beth? I think it's Beth.
I think it's Beth.
Who knows? I mean, the truth does eventually come out.
Okay, so we find out. Good.
Well, maybe in season 3.
Oh,
Okay.
so I will stay with.
we've got a lot right now. It's just that's the way Helen's seen it, and I love this. There's so much in this episode today. It's just fantastic. So many. There's a lot of drama going on. For
Yeah.
all the characters, and I had some great lines. The one about the key, and he's like, "How do you know there's a key?" She's like, "It's the suburbs."
Oh,
It's
yeah,
always
it's my favorite. It was so good. And
We were
it's
laughing
so true.
because it's true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It's
I
so
really
true.
yeah.
yeah. So, but there was a lot of information in tonight's episode, and characters really, you can see that it's really building up to the season finale. And
Yeah.
my gosh, the season finale is just epic.
Oh, wow.
I feel like the season finale
Amazing.
is gonna leave me with so many more questions than all the questions
will.
that I already have.
It'll literally leave you with the same question I had when I read it. I went, "Oh my God, you've got to do a season 3. I've got to know what
Yeah.
happens." It's so good, and so all these episodes are building to our season finale. You will not be disappointed.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my
I'm
God,
so
I can't
excited.
There'll be surprises. There's
Yeah.
a lot of surprises, and things aren't always as they appear, but you will not be disappointed. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
We are almost there, you guys. We will know exactly what Rena's talking about in just a few weeks. But how do we feel about Beth taking Levi?
Well,
I didn't start to
Sorry.
understand it. Even when they were at the house, I was like, what is the purpose? Shoot it out of a book real quick. People were like living
Yeah.
in circles, touching each other, like rubbing. I was like, what is this? I feel like nothing really happened.
Mm-hmm.
It just left you with so many questions.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
odd.
yeah, I agree. It was like someone said on Twitter. It's like, all this really feels like a cult.
Yeah,
That you've
Yes.
just been
very much
thrown
so.
into this cult,
Yeah.
and he's getting his feet washed, and he's been,
Mm-hmm.
adored, and they're all in awe of the real mer people. And I think what we've learned thus far is they've spent their lives believing that mermaids were still real, but they haven't had, like Helen.
Yeah.
Actually, right back to episode 1, when I had that first moment with Rin,
Yeah.
it was that same thing. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I've spent my whole life believing or wanting to believe that these mermaids and mer people are real and that one day they'll come back to the land. So what Beth and her crew are going through is pretty much the same as what Helen went through in episode 1. It's
Yeah.
like unbelievable, but they're
Like
just
the shock.
yeah, the shock of it. And you're right. And suddenly, I think what they were doing, though, in terms of their singing and her reading from the book, that's all part of the culture that they've tried to maintain. It's a bit
Okay.
like going to church.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
mer people church.
Sign me up for that church.
I'm
You
gonna
know.
fly on the wall for that.
Yeah, because they're quite overwhelmed. You
Yeah.
know, that there's suddenly, here's a merman and a mermaid.
Yeah, which I was in the beginning when we first kind of saw the encounter before they actually were introduced to the rest of the hybrids. We were kind of talking and we're like questioning and like, why are they acting weird? But in my thoughts, I was like, oh well, if you were human living within aliens, but you were told like, oh, there's other humans out there, but you've never met one. If you saw one, you would want to be like, oh my gosh, you're
Absolutely.
another human.
Yeah.
It's just that like, but towards the end, it just kind of, I feel like maybe it was because of the cinematography that they did and just like the way that they were doing it, like the camera was being like panned out, that I was able to see like they would touch her or like they would do like there were
Yeah.
certain things that I was like is that like what's going on?
Yeah,
It just make you
yeah.
question
Yeah.
their real
Intentions
of what they wanted to do.
Yeah, you could
with
spend
them.
a whole episode just exploring that and
Yes.
their cultural aspects and their ceremonies. But the reality is it's mating season. we're back to mating season for the mermaids, and that's what keeps we have to get drawn back to mating season. And Ren is very ready.
Wait, so if
And that's
Can-
what they were talking about all episode is it's mating
yeah,
season.
can
remember?
hybrids feel that it's mating season? Do we know this?
That's a good question. I think we do because when you look at that first episode in Helen's living room, and I'm like, what the hell is about to go down in my living room?
Yeah. I guess, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was another good line, and that was something I thought, yeah, she knows something's going down.
You
and
had
it's-
really good one-liners in this
I
episode.
did. I had some great lines and some really good scenes, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a great episode for everyone, I thought.
It really
Yeah.
was, yeah. Well, you guys, we end up at Caspian Ranch.
Yeah.
very odd.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, there's so many locations going on.
Yes.
And they all, I feel like, tie back to Beth.
They all tie back to Beth. But Caspian Ranch gave me the same feel when Ben and Rin went inside that locked room in the basement.
Yeah.
I felt like we were going to also see some very strange things inside the ranch as we did inside the basement thing. So clearly we know that they're gathering some information. I'm just really wondering what they want to do or like what they're planning to do. Are they trying to become sirens? Do they want to get in the water? Like,
what is their purpose? Yeah, I wondered the same thing. I thought
Yeah.
we got some answers today, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Darn.
Yeah.
They don't come that easy.
No, not yet, not yet. But it is. It's like it's a secret society, you know. And I think, you know, I'm not giving anything away by saying Beth has often repeated the importance of keeping the secret, and
Yeah.
she also raised it in this episode when she said to Rick, "We can't trust her. You know,
Yeah.
she's outspoken, or whatever the word was she used, but." You know, how do we know we can trust her? And he says he had already given the information we can trust her because she's already been taking care of the real
Yeah.
mermaids and mermen, which is what brings her to the shop because she sees Levi.
Yeah.
She sees him. She wants a piece of that. She wants to.
Because it's mating season.
Because, well.
Beth and Levi.
No.
Everybody wants a piece of Levi. Bring him in.
Yeah. No. Beth's married with 2 children. Remember, she's got 2 boys, and
Yeah.
so she's very driven about keeping the community, protecting the community.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been established that she'll do whatever it takes to protect her family. And
Yeah.
I think that's all of us, really. We'll do
Yeah.
whatever it takes, even if that means they might get up to some, I don't know. We'll have
Fishy
to wait
stuff.
and see. Fishy, that's a good way to put it. Fishy stuff.
Some fishy stuff.
Some fishy stuff is going down at the ranch.
Well, Beth found out something very interesting in this episode.
That's right.
She found out that she is a Pownall.
I know.
Oh, I
So that's,
know.
that was a moment that, we are Pownals. Yeah.
And you know
That
what's
was a
funny
moment.
is that I had totally forgotten that the
Yeah.
test had said that she was a Pownall, and that's why you
Yeah.
get some of the
Trust money.
trust
That's
money
right.
and stuff. And then I was like, but then this episode was really one of those episodes that helped connect season 1, season 2, part 1, and then season
That's right.
2, part 2.
Yeah.
Because it was like in the beginning we knew like about Helen, and then we had all these unanswered questions, and then we're like, oh my gosh,
That's
Charles,
right.
the Pownals, the massacre, like everything.
That's
So it's crazy.
It's been like bookends, like, you know, when you look at season 1, you know, Helen educates him about his ancestors' history.
Yeah.
And by the end of that season, when she takes him to the graveyard to bury Donna, the sister,
Yeah.
that's when she confesses that I'm a Pownall, that we're related.
Yeah.
That's the first time he found out that we're actually related. So yeah, it's kind of then it's come back around, and it kind of is going to be interesting to see where they go with this information, because that's pretty major information. We're all related. Well,
Yeah.
us 3 are related to Ted Pownall.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we think that Ren is going to be upset at the fact that also Helen didn't tell her she was a Pownall? Or like the story?
I don't think so. I don't
No?
think she's thinking that.
Because it's like a different relationship.
yeah.
Yeah, and I told them I told her at the graveyard. You know, I told her my history.
Okay.
You remember, I've already told them that I came from the daughter that Charles Pownall had with the mermaid.
Yeah.
That's where my mother came from, and she married a human. That's why she
Okay,
was rejected.
yeah.
So I'd already...
So you basically already told her
That's
your
right.
side of the story. It was
Yeah.
only Ben who was lying.
Well, no, he wasn't. He didn't lie. He
He
just...
withheld the truth.
Well, he didn't even do that because he had never been really asked or put on the
This is
spot to
true.
do
Yeah.
that. So
I know.
that only happened tonight. And so she also said, you know, when Rin says we can't bury Donna at that cemetery because she can't be buried with humans. And that's when I go, well, they're not humans.
Yeah.
They're hybrids like me. So no, Rin should, if that ever came up again. Well, remember when we took Donna back to my family graveyard? Yeah, plus I personally wasn't part of the massacre. My mother wasn't. She,
Yeah.
as we found out, they ran away. She ran away. She was supposed to have an arranged marriage, and she fell in love with a human.
Yes.
You know, and I'm kind of happy because that's where I come from.
Yes.
There would be no Helen.
There
without
would be
it.
no Helen without this.
Hybrids, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which is super exciting. I actually remember when we first had you in season 1, I was like, you are a mermaid, or you're some part mermaid. And we find out
that's right.
that
'cause
you
I couldn't
are.
tell you.
Yeah,
I
you
couldn't
couldn't tell us.
you.
I was like, first of all, tell me, are you a mermaid? And she was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like,
I'm-
tell me everything.
Pretty good at keeping secrets.
We can tell.
I value my job.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, you guys, this is so much fun. Let's start and talk to Rena a little bit. So, Rena, I was reading, you are in a new show called The Glowing.
Oh my gosh, you read that. You're up to date.
Yes. Tell me a little bit
Yeah,
about it and tell me about
that's-
your character.
Oh, God, that's a whole different world. Which is one of the reasons I wanted to do it, because it's supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of horror elements to it.
Okay.
And it's a character I've never ever played before.
Do you ever play the same characters, or do
No,
you like to play different
I like
characters?
to play different characters. So
Okay.
I kind of look for roles that are going to stretch me and challenge me. And I remember reading this and going, oh, God, this is... And it did. It stretched and challenged me more than I'd even anticipated.
Yeah.
It's an amazing character, and it's an amazing project by a wonderful filmmaker called Vicky Madden, who is a born and bred Taswegian.
Oh, wow.
So another little Bristol Cove. Tasmania is like an island that's at the bottom of Australia between New Zealand.
Yeah.
But don't call them Australians. They're
No.
Taswegians.
Okay.
So it was almost like being in another Bristol Cove.
Wow.
But it was supernatural, and it's horror, and it's a detective-based story.
Okay.
And it's not a whodunit, it's a why done it.
Oh.
And the murder of a woman that my character may know is what sets off the whole story.
Oh.
So that hopefully will pop up on, that won't come out till next year, and that hopefully will be on Hulu at some point.
Oh my goodness, you guys, we have another episode to binge watch because it's going to be on Hulu.
Yeah, if you like those kind of detective thriller, it kind of, when I read it, it reminded me of Twin Peaks and a little
Okay.
bit of Prime Suspect.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Very, very different from our Siren. And obviously I wouldn't want to do anything that was even like our Siren.
Yeah.
Because Siren is Siren.
Exactly.
And Helen is Helen.
Yeah. What would you say was the biggest challenge to play? Were you preparing for both roles at the same time, or was it separate?
No,
Okay.
no. We'd finished season 2, so that was a whole different deal.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I'm kind of one job at a time girl.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like to be in 2 jobs at the same time. Oh, well, you can. That has happened to me, but you want to be 100% focused because acting, particularly for the camera, you have to be 100% in the moment.
Yeah.
So your head can't be anywhere else. It has to be totally. That's what presence is.
Yeah.
When you see actors who've got a lot of presence, it's because they're just 110% totally there. Every single cell in their being is totally in that moment.
Yeah.
And that's where you need to be. Especially if you want to do good work, then you've got to be present, you've got to do your homework, and you've got to dig deep.
Yeah.
And an audiences, people forget how clever our audiences are.
Yeah.
They
They
know
can tell.
Oh, hell yeah. They know when you're faking it. They're going to be the first to call you on it,
Yeah.
It's like, they're the ones who keep us in a job. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's you two too. I mean, none of us would have a job if we didn't have an audience.
Yeah.
And was so pleased after we did season 1, as you know. I was kind of because it's a YA show, it's a young adult show on one of the biggest YA networks in the world, Freeform, and I was like, oh God, young people I know don't really like old people.
I don't understand why. I feel like like people who are older than me, even if it's just by 5 years, but even if it's more, you guys are so wise.
You're an old
And you
soul.
guys have
Yeah.
the best stories that could ever come to be. Like, I'm pretty sure I could probably sit here and you could tell me 5 different stories and I'll be like,
In awe.
I'd be
Tell
like,
me
please
more."
tell me more.
But yeah, to a young person, to a teenager, if you're 30, you're old. So,
Very
It's true.
true.
this is very true. So I was really happy when, my boss has said, Helen's really popular. People really like Helen. And one of our boss's daughters, who was a teenager, she said, yeah, Helen's one of my favorite characters. And I said to her, why? Why do you like Helen? And she just said simply, because she's real.
Yeah.
And I think that's the generation we're grown up with now. We're grown up with young generation who want realness, who want truth, who want honesty. They don't want to be lied to. I mean, look how upset you are with Alex.
I'm going to need some answers later, okay, Ben? We'll leave it for another
You might
episode.
get them, but you hang in there. But that's the future of our world, and I'm excited by it. I'm excited by our young people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you excited with how your character has unfolded within Siren?
I am. I am. I had such interesting storylines in season 2. I mean, season 1 was very much establishing the trio, which will always be the centre of our show, is the trio, our love trio. and then, you know, Xander and Helen and the characters they get involved with and the community. And I got 2 really excellent storylines in season 2. The first half, 2A, was with Sarge. And it was wonderful for Helen to actually have somewhat of a romantic love interest.
Yeah.
You know, it was really good for her. And then, of course, the second part has been finding out that her and Rick aren't the only one, that there's this whole community, you know, of hybrids. And they're on a ranch called Caspian Ranch.
It's crazy.
That's I actually had forgotten that Sarge was also like you guys
Yeah,
had
me too.
this connection.
We did.
Oh my gosh, that was so devastating.
I know it was.
I like legitimately started tearing up in the season finale because I was like, that was Helen's partner.
I know. A lot of people were really upset, and you know, including Helen. And you know, that's a magic moment I'll never forget is when we had that tank moment where oh God, I'm getting all choked up. Where I see him transformed in the tank.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got his full tail, and I see him in his merman glory, and it was just, oh God, it was emotional doing that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks, Sarge, you know, because I wouldn't have had that moment if it wasn't for the character of Sarge.
And it was probably a new feeling for Helen, you know, to have this connection with another Siren and then just kind of seeing everything.
Absolutely, particularly because she's kind of had to live in secret for so long, you know, to have people she can just be herself with. And then this whole, you know, it's been like a detective storyline in 2B for Helen, figuring out what's happened to her parents. And it's been just juicy. I've had great stuff, and I'm really grateful for that.
Well, really excited. And we can't wait to see the rest of your character and what other things pop up, because we know that this is not the end. There is still a lot more to come, and we can't wait for it.
No, and I'm going to guarantee that you'll be like me when you get to the end of episode 16. You're just going to go, oh my God.
Complete shock. Oh my God.
It's like a cliffhanger of all cliffhangers, and you're going to be like, you're going to see why we need to make a season 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
you
I'm
will
like,
not be disappointed.
When do you guys start filming season 3? I hope
I
soon.
go next week.
My
Next year.
God.
Next week we're going to pre-production, and filming starts late July.
This is a good thing. 'Cause
It's a
that
great
means
thing.
We'll get a season
That's
very
right.
soon.
That's right. You won't have to wait too long.
I hope not. You guys made us wait for the second half, and I was like, why?
do you know what? I'll tell you why. One of the biggest reasons is all those visual effects and the mermaid tails and the underwater stuff. All that takes a long time.
Yeah.
And
I can
that's
imagine.
That's post-production. That doesn't happen while we're there shooting. It's in post, and those guys work really hard to get everything finished, because there's a lot of work that goes into visual effects.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, they're talented, because those images
seriously.
are amazing. When they went under in the submarine, everything that you saw was like,
I know.
wow, it's amazing.
It is.
It's been awesome. Well, thank you so much to them. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we do close out, you guys, let's do some quick predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay.
So I had one. I don't know how realistic it is, but I hope it is. I think so. Ben's becoming really, really, really jealous, and now Ren doesn't trust him. So I think it may just be a relationship between Maddie and Ren, which I think would be very interesting. So Ben's out, and maybe now it's just
bye, Ben.
bye. Yeah, I think it's Maddie and Ren, and he's gonna be. I think Maddie's gonna be in the middle. And it's going to be a compromising position. I'm interested to see where that goes.
See, I kind of still want to keep my theory that...
Oh, my God, the mating one?
That the mating one, because, you know, Rin was really good at turning Ben down and saying, like, no, we can't do it right now because, like, it's mating season, I need to hold off. And I have a feeling that, you know, hormones are going to arise, and there's going to be no stopping them. So, I don't know. Something within me tells me that Rin is really going to end up with a hybrid baby. I don't know that she'll be able to do the remating, and like it's because she's gonna end up with a hybrid baby. Then that's probably why they'll actually end up doing the lab sirens, like the lab babies.
Ooh, maybe
because they'll like because if that happens, then they're gonna have to be obligated to like turn Levi in. But yeah. I guess we'll have to.
What can you tell us?
My lips are sealed. My only prediction is you will not be disappointed.
Oh, I love that.
You will not be disappointed. You've got 3 more fantastic episodes to go, 14, 15, and our season finale, 16.
Okay. Okay, well, we are so excited. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. Rena, thank you so much for coming in. It was such a pleasure to have you here. You guys can go ahead and follow these beautiful ladies. Where can they follow you on social media?
Oh, great. I'm at Rena Owen on Instagram, and that's also on Twitter and on Facebook. It's the Rena Owen, but I'm mostly on Instagram at Rena Owen.
And I'm Karla Contreras, and you can find me on Instagram at Karla L. Contreras and Twitter at Karla_C.
And you guys can follow me on Instagram at I am Karla Beltrán. And of course, don't forget to follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms at AfterBuzz TV. We'll see you guys next week. Ciao.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.